everybody. Here we are, the Women at the Well. It's Melissa and I. And we're just going to ask the Lord to join us tonight as you join us. And just let the Holy Spirit have His way with us tonight. We just want to welcome you here and thank you for being with us. Melissa and I are actually we're not talking to Democrats or Republicans tonight. We're actually talking to Christians tonight about the Christian principles and the election. There are a couple things that many of you all may have already voted, but there's still things that we can talk about. Just let the Spirit of the Lord have issue with this and just touch our hearts on where we should be in our Christian walk as people who vote. But there are some Christian principles that are being addressed during the election, abortion being one of them, and redefining marriage being one of them. So we're not here to tell anybody what to do. Just want to share our personal experience and how we got to where we are tonight. And I'm just going to stop for a second to see if there's anything you want to say. And you got any words of wisdom or any Bible verses or stories for us?
Well, I normally do, but today I was slacking. I had to let Shannon take the lead today because I just didn't get my notes done in time.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
But it's been a busy week. So Shannon's kind of taken the lead for me tonight, and she's got some really good stuff. We've been going over what we're going to talk about tonight before we came on, like we always do. And Shannon's just very educated in this area, and we both, like Shannon said, we don't ever want to tell anybody who to vote for, but voting is very important. It's very important for our country. It's very important for us as Christians, and I think it's important, Shannon, that people know who they're voting for and why are they voting for them. Mm-hmm. It's easy to just say, oh, I support so-and-so because my mom does and my dad does and my grandpa does. My grandpa and I do not support the same person. Yeah. If I allowed my grandpa to tell me who to vote for, he's 85 and I respect every single thing that he stands for. He's my papa. I love him. I would never, ever, ever go against him. But we are each entitled to our own beliefs. Right. And I really think that you have to do your research and you have to know why are you voting for who you're voting for. Yeah. They're running your country. They're going to, in the long run, make decisions that maybe you are for, maybe you're not for. That's why voting is so important, because if you don't take a stand and vote, then I've always been told if you don't vote, don't complain. Right. Because, really, maybe you say, well, I don't like either one of them. Yeah. Well, Shannon's going to talk to you about maybe how you can decide, maybe how you can make your choice when you just say, I don't like either one of them. I don't have a good choice. Yeah. But voting is so important. It's important for our country. It's important for us as Christians. And it's important that we have our own opinion, yeah, I believe. So I'm just going to let Shannon take the lead on this.
Will you just jump in anytime that you feel like
I will.
it? So.
Yeah, I will. I have no problem with that.
So for me, something that Melissa said just kind of struck a chord with me. I have never cared about an election. I really honestly don't even know how many times I've ever voted. It was never anything that was super important to me. But the Lord has taken me on a journey that I feel is very important to share. And, I think the Lord placed me years ago when I was 6 weeks old to live here in Manchester, Kentucky. And it's been a wonderful place to live. So starting last year, all of a sudden I got this email from James Dobson on Focus on the Family. Now, I have followed James Dobson since probably the 1990s, and he's a very conservative Christian who I felt like has given me little pieces of good advice along the way. One of the things that I remember him saying was, him as a pastor, he and his wife made an agreement that he would never him or her would never travel with someone of the opposite sex alone on a business trip or anywhere just for protection of their reputation. I took that to heart a long time ago, and it is something that I actually do now. So I have followed him for many years, but last spring in 2019 he had sent an email out, and it was about Planned Parenthood, and he was explaining who started Planned Parenthood and why. And he had just said that in the email that Planned Parenthood was started by Margaret Sanger, and it was started to extinguish the black population. When I read that email, I was so mad. I know there's a lot of racial tension in the United States and all around the world, but in Manchester, Kentucky, where we live, there's no racial tension.
No.
We are equals. We all love each other, and I feel like if somebody ever was looking for a good example of how black and white people should get along, you should come here. So when I read that email from James Dobson, I was so mad, and it actually propelled me to forward that email to a friend of mine, plus write a devotional on my daily devotional was concerning something about abortion. Well, in turn, little did I know that would speak to you. That's what kind of started this whole journey. And then, you are the one that came to me and said, Shannon, I need to talk to you, about something. And everybody knows Melissa's testimony. And if you don't, she came to me and she said she had had an abortion and she hadn't told very many people. So here I am on my journey. Melissa starts becoming part of my journey. And I never was able to find any information on Margaret Sanger. I actually started researching her, but I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find any documents. Well, then this year, when COVID hit and you have more time to be on YouTube and watching things, there is a lady named Bevelyn Betty who stands in front of Planned Parenthood and she protests. I was just watching her, and one day I saw this sign that she had made, and she had it in front of Planned Parenthood, and it said this on it. It said, we don't want word to get out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. And it was written by Margaret Sanger. And I was like, this is the second person that has said this about Planned Parenthood. I still can't find any information on it. And, why doesn't everybody know this? And so on October 18th, there was an alert on my email, a notification letting me know that there was a video by Church Militant on YouTube. Church Militant on October 18th. I said that twice, so you might go back and look at it. It had all kinds of proof of Margaret Sanger. It had her personal handwriting. It had her picture. It had documents written to preachers. It had everything that this is a true statement. So I am not only adamant against abortion, but I am adamant against Planned Parenthood and this mission. It completely makes me so angry that I can't stand it, and I want to make sure that everybody knows. So this whole election has a lot to do with Planned Parenthood.
It does.
Planned Parenthood actually, what's it called when you're for a candidate? They endorsed Biden. Well, that's not okay with me, And so that is just, how I got started on this journey. It's why that, part of why Melissa and I are here tonight. It's why I'm talking about it tonight. And I'm not talking to a Democrat or a Republican. I'm talking to Christians who care about following God's hard, H-A-R-D, way. His way is not easy. There's oftentimes we have to deny ourselves when it comes to God's way. But his way is his way for a reason, and I think you and I have been proof of living his way and how amazing it is. You know, we all live in a world filled with sin. You have to agree with that. You know, there's liars, there's people with addiction, we're filled with greed. None of us are perfect. But here's the thing that I know is God takes all things and works it for the good. Now, why am I even talking about that right now? Because a lot of people will say, well, I'm against abortion except for in rape, you know, or incest. Well, you know, that is a very shallow, non-Christian way of looking at it, because God works all things to the good of those who serve the Lord. Now, if you don't believe me, because, you know, ask Martin Sheen's wife, the actor Martin Sheen's wife, her mother was raped and did not have an abortion and gave birth to her. She matters. People that are born out of a situation of rape have said, what about me? You know, it hurts them when people say, I'm against abortion except for rape, and people that have, you know, are products of a rape situation say, what about me? Am I not important? They are important, because God works all things to the good.
And I don't know if I think I've told you, but, you know, the devil always has a plan, and that is to stop something before it turns into God's plan.
Right.
So the devil has a plan, God has a plan. Carrie Job, if you know the Christian singer Carrie Job, Carrie Job's story was amazing because the doctors wanted her mom to have an abortion. Carrie's mom had cancer and had been doing cancer treatments. Then she found out she was pregnant. So the doctors were like, oh no, you can't have this baby. There's going to be too much damage. Just go ahead and have an abortion. And she was a Christian, so she decided, no, whatever comes with this baby, it is what it is. And Carrie Job is awesome.
Right.
If you know her and her
Yes.
music, I mean, she is just anointed by God. And so that's just one example.
Right.
There's so
Tim
many.
Tebow.
Tim Tebow is another one if you want to research, you know, on your own. But there are so many people, so many lives that the devil could have ended. You know, he could have took that plan that God had, because he tells us in his word that he knew us and he has a plan for us. So everyone that's created has a purpose.
Right.
Everyone. Just like my son that I know was created when I had an abortion, he has a purpose, because now I'm telling the story about him. Right. So, yeah, the devil may have been able to stop his life here on earth, but that didn't stop his story, because I kept that inside for 16 years, didn't tell anybody. And then when I did, it has started this whole journey with Shannon and I, and why we believe so strongly about saving lives. Yeah. And not only that, Shannon and I were talking, you know, the lady, I can't remember her name, Margaret.
Singer, yeah.
But it was talking about in that video, because I watched some of the video that Shannon had watched, and they are trying to kill their own population out, with being, you know, to abolish the black population. They are saying they're wanting to take their own race out. I mean, to me,
when you vote for Planned Parenthood and abortion,
that's what you're
basically
that's what you're voting for, is
exterminating your own population.
Right.
Because that was the whole plan.
Because that was the whole plan to begin with. And a lot of people don't know that.
Right.
And had I have not been affected by abortion, by Planned Parenthood, I may not have even looked into these things, because it wouldn't have been an importance to me.
Yeah.
Shannon just happened to have, you know, another thing about it that she didn't like. But their agenda is not good.
Right.
Their agenda is not good. Their agenda is not biblical. And if you are trying to follow God's word, that's why it's so important that you do your research on because Planned Parenthood may not affect you if you've never had an abortion, if you've never known anyone that's had an abortion. It's so easy to say, well, I don't think that the foster system is good, because if you don't have an abortion after you've been raped, look at the foster care system. Look at the children's homes that are full of kids that can't be adopted. I agree, it's terrible. I wish that adoption were as easy as getting abortions.
Right. Yes.
As easy and as cheap, because
Right.
for $700 you can get an abortion.
Right.
It costs 30,
7,000.
40, 50.
70,000.
How much money do you want to spend to adopt a child? It's
Right.
it's so expensive that we can't afford it. So yes, I agree. It's a terrible, terrible system.
One thing that you said was, you were talking about, the Lord having a plan for each of us. God knew each and every one of us before we were in our mother's womb. He has a plan for each and every one of us. And so that's one issue, is abortion. Well, people might say, yeah, but what about the death penalty? Okay, so you've got Joe Biden, who's for abortion but against the death penalty. You've got Trump, who's against abortion but for the death penalty. And for those people who say, oh, Trump's a liar, he used to say he was pro-choice, whatever. Well, guess what? I used to be pro-choice too. People have the opportunity to change their mind, but also Trump has a record of installing over 300 conservative judges, plus he has appointed 3 Supreme Court judges that are conservative,
just last night.
and that'll be she's the third. Yeah. So so there is a record to prove that he actually is against abortion. It's not just words on a piece of paper or a campaign slogan. It is actually something he has proven in his 3.5 years. So you've got Biden, who is for abortion, but he's against the death penalty. You've got Trump, who is against abortion, but he's for the death penalty. How do you choose? Okay? You have to pick. So let me just put it in real, everyday, me and you terms. Okay? I want you to pick this way. Instead of picking a candidate, I want you to pick either number 1 or number 2. I'm going to read you 2 choices, and you have to pick. Number 1, an unborn child in the womb of a 16-year-old girl who is raped. You get to pick this person to live or die. That was number 1. An unborn child in the womb of a 16-year-old girl who was raped. Does she live or die? Or you get to pick this person, number 2. A man who has killed multiple women, pregnant women, and other people that have not been proven, and is in prison on death row for all these deaths. Which person do you pick to live or die? That's how you pick the candidate. You're picking the best candidate of the worst 2 situations. Mm-hmm. Which one do you choose? Did I explain that right?
Yeah,
did I read
did.
it right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you pick one, and then determining on which one you pick, that's the candidate that you pick.
Because Shannon, I think people do really, really struggle with, because I hear it so much. Well, neither one of them are good.
Right.
I mean, neither one of them are good, and a lot of times it just makes people stand back and say, I just don't want to be a part of it.
Right.
I just don't even want to pick either one of them because I don't agree with the wall, or I don't agree with, Biden don't know what he's talking about, or whatever. And they don't really have, they don't really know why.
Right.
I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
They don't know why they don't like them. They don't know
Right.
why that they should like them.
Yeah.
But just do your research, because these things that Shannon is putting into perspective, it's a way that we can all understand it too. I think, because it's hard to understand a lot of times why you're voting for who you're voting for.
Honestly, I never knew anything about voting. And if it
Me
hadn't
neither.
been that email from James Dobson, it wouldn't have taken me down this path,
Yeah. To really do your research.
Okay, so now, she's talking about the wall, okay? So what about immigration? What about racism? All these issues of injustice matter. They do. Mm-hmm. They're important. They matter. They are things that we must advocate for. However, we are deceiving ourselves when we put those issues above the sanctity of life. Mm-hmm. We are deceiving ourselves if we say that these issues of injustice are more important than the right to life. Because, you know, I think of it this way. You have a mother who's pregnant, okay? And she is thinking about having an abortion. And then all of a sudden you realize, what if this child in this womb is the one who fights so hard for the injustices of immigration and racism, but you've killed them? It breaks my heart.
It could happen too.
Because God forms each and every person for such a time as this. You know, we don't get to decide who lives and who dies. That is God's job to do. And there are injustices in this world, but you know, the Lord said, we will have trouble.
A lot.
He says in the Bible
He says
two
it.
things. He says, one, you will have trouble in this world. And the other thing he says, do not kill.
Yeah.
So, let me just ask you this, because you may be thinking it. Shouldn't we keep our opinions to ourselves and let you have yours? I'm going to let you decide that, okay? We're just here to educate. We're here to share our experiences. But here are my thoughts. I love you too much to not let you know what God's word says. And I love each and every person too much to not share. I want you to think about it this way. Let's just take a simple subject like smoking, okay? Smoking has been proven to cause cancer. I go into the schools, I talk to students about not smoking cigarettes, not smoking marijuana, not abusing prescription medication, and not taking illegal medication. I do that because I love them and want them to have a better life. But let's just take smoking. It's been proven to cause cancer. And if I know that you smoke, would it be more loving of me to tell you that smoking causes cancer, or to not tell you? You have a choice to do whatever you want to do once I tell you, okay? And you say, oh gosh, everybody knows that smoking causes cancer. Well, what if somebody doesn't know? What if there's somebody listening here tonight that doesn't know about any of these issues that we talked about tonight? Isn't that showing love when you share God's biblical principles on the issues pertaining to the election? So if we help one person, that's all I care about, because God made each and every person, and each and every one of us are so important to him. So there are there are Christian principles that are being elected next Tuesday. And those are abortion and the redefining of marriage, which is completely against the Bible. So we just wanted to share that with you tonight. And what do you think, Melissa? What else do you have to add?
I guess the only thing that I have to add, you were talking about, we do care about you, and we do care about your choices and about your beliefs. And we know that everyone is entitled to their own opinion. We completely agree with that. There are things that Shannon and I probably, if we were to sit here, we wouldn't agree on every
Right.
single thing.
But we can talk about it.
We can talk about it. Yeah,
and that's what's important.
Right.
Is,
and the thing that I think about is Shannon and I really want to share the love of God with you. If no matter who you vote for, no matter what your beliefs are, we want to share that God loves you no matter what, no matter who you vote for.
Right.
But we do ask you to do your research, because if we didn't educate you the best that we know how about getting saved, okay, so you may have never been to church, you may have not been raised in church, maybe you might have heard about God, or might have heard that Jesus saves you or loves you, whatever. You might not really know a whole lot about it. If we do know that it's true,
Right.
and if we do know that he can save you, he can forgive you, that he can make your life better, if we know that but we don't share it, then we're also not doing our part
Right.
as Christians. So standing up for what we believe is right, what we believe in the Bible, which is life. We believe in life. We believe that God created everybody for a purpose. And all races, all, to discriminate against ridding the population of one race, if it's white, if it's black, if it's whatever. I mean, it's not right.
It's not
in
right.
our belief, it's not right, no matter what the race is.
Right.
So we're doing our part by sharing
The information.
that we have,
Right.
just what we know, and we want to see you saved. We that's our goal. Our goal is to get
Yeah.
you to heaven. Hopefully, you want to go there.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
So
I do
that,
too.
that's our goal.
and we
is-
want to see you there.
Yeah, we do. So
Yeah.
that's our goal of doing this, and to just educate you the best way that we know how.
I think one of the sayings that just came to my mind is, we hope that we can all enjoy this life and be together here, as friends and family in this life. But our whole goal is for us to spend eternity together. And sometimes we have to die to our own wants, our own needs, and do things God's hard way, so we can reach our ultimate goal, which is heaven. So we just thank you for being here with us tonight. We appreciate you listening. If you feel this is beneficial, if you'll share it, we sure would appreciate that. And we're taking next Tuesday off.
We're taking next Tuesday off because it is election night, so we figure everybody will probably be tuned into the election. The week after that, we have got an amazing guest. I'm surprising Shannon because Shannon's never even met this lady.
I
So
can't wait.
it's going to be awesome. I'll tell you a little bit about her story later on. I'll share it in our group, on our group page about her. So that'll be the 10th. The next week, Michelle.
Yep,
I
Dave
think
Ramsey.
we're going to have
Yep.
Dave Ramsey. Michelle Lochran is going to be back with us, and we're going to talk about Dave Ramsey.
Yep.
Shannon keeps telling me I need to learn how to do it, and I probably do.
It's amazing.
I probably do. So if you're interested in that, be sure and
Yeah.
join us on the 17th for that. And I think is that everything we've got? And as always, if you all need prayer, if you have something going on that you need to talk about, we're always here. You can private message us. And do go vote, however you vote. Vote in person, however. I'm not sure how all the different ways, but be sure and educate yourself before you vote, and vote for the very best choice that you can, according to what you find out, because it
Right.
really does matter. Your vote
does
really
matter.
does matter.
It matters to God.
It matters to God
It
because
does.
I mean our country was founded on God.
Yes.
I mean it was supposed to be,
Right.
in God we trust
Right.
on everything.
Yeah, and we
one
just-
nation under God.
We've got away from him, and
We've got
everybody
away from
they
it.
think, oh, well, that's just old fashioned. That doesn't mean anything. Well, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It matters.
It matters. So
It
go
matters.
and vote. Educate yourself before you go. That way, when somebody says, "Why did you vote for him?" you can say, "Well, if you can just come up with one good reason
Right.
to vote for who you're voting for,
Yeah.
then you can at least say, you know what, I voted for him because of this."
Yeah.
So,
Right.
yeah, go vote.
God
So,
bless you.
We'll see you guys in 2
All right.
weeks.
Bye.